This is the Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Wyatt Turk, and Mike Haspel. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yeah,
Greetings and
what's up?
felicitations. I messed up. I
It's
messed
all
it
right,
up.
dude.
I screwed it up. I had one job.
You have one job, Haspel.
I had one job.
You're
It's
like,
been a long day.
remember that episode of Rick and Morty
Same.
where they become Rick and Jerry at the same time?
I do.
That's what just happened.
It's because we're all out of order on the four-way screen here. It threw me for a loop. I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, I'm supposed to be opposite Jan, not Wyatt.
So we have
Oh, so much news.
so much news, so much stuff happened that we had to change the original show notes to new show notes.
Which I already have. I have the show notes for. I am ready to go on this one.
Yeah.
I am super motivated.
We had a good one, but like this is breaking news.
Yeah.
40k data balance slate is out. Adepticon and like fucking right around the corner. We got so much to talk about.
True.
Also, a first time ever user submission. Would you rather occurred today? So
Oh,
let's kick it off and touch nothing but the lamp and roll into that Cave of Wonders.
Yeah, so shout out to Eric A. I won't say your full real name,
I'm not
but
gonna dox him.
they sent in a pretty like off the wall, really funny one that just tickled my funny bone. So would you rather that the only way you can fall asleep is you have to get hit in the face with a raw hot dog? And this parentheses, this can also be triggered if it happens on accident during the day at any point.
Oh,
Or every partner that you have a second date with, so on the second date, they're stuck sounding exactly like Macho Man Randy Savage at all times, as long as you know them.
Okay, first question. Am I the only one who hears Macho Man, or does everyone hear it?
No, it's just for you.
Oh, God.
oh, it's like Shallow Hal.
I'm wearing my Macho Man shirt right now.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated that in the email they attached a picture of Macho Man.
Shout out
Just
to
in case we didn't know.
Alex was his name. What was it?
No, Eric.
Eric.
A.
Shout out to Eric for going the extra mile. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So no matter so she said
Yeah.
no matter what her inflection is it like how Macho Man would say it or how she would say it, but it sounds
It's how
like,
Macho Man. Yeah.
damn.
It's as if Macho Man was doing the dub.
So she was like, baby, can you do the dishes for me? It wouldn't just be like, baby, can you do the dishes for me? It'd be like some wild roundabout way
Exactly.
of saying, would you
Yeah.
do the dishes for me?
Full Macho Man character at
Oh
all
my
times.
God.
It's the only way to do it.
That would be something.
Wow. And a
Well,
raw,
this-
specify raw hot dog, like, because hot dogs are pre-cooked when you get them. You just mean
You know,
like,
out
a
the
cold hot dog?
package. Yeah, like an
Out
uncooked
the
hot dog.
fridge,
A cold hot
Yeah.
out
dog,
the
not a
fridge
warmed
or
up hot dog?
frozen.
Like out of the fridge. Like you just bought it at the supermarket.
So it's a little wiggly.
Oh, of course.
I don't know what hot dogs you eat. I don't care how much you cook them.
The stiff ones.
They're always wiggly. So, just to reiterate, someone goes to Circle K, gets one of those hot dogs off the like little spinny dealy, and throws it in my face. I'm fine because that shit's already.
No,
good.
you fall asleep. Oh, you mean after it's been heated up?
Yeah,
on the...
it's on the rolly thing already.
Okay, I misheard you. So you're fine. It has to be an uncooked,
like
cold
I'm
hot
safe
dog.
in a gas station. Like
It's got to
hot
be
dog
like
scenario.
out of the package. Some of the hot dog water still dripping off of it.
And so to go to sleep, I slap myself with the hot dog.
Yeah, you can self slap. You can.
And it's like instantaneous. Like I better be already
you're
in
like
position.
unconscious. Yeah.
Laying in
I'm
bed.
assuming that based on their like parentheses of like this can also be triggered during the day. That if I just like walked up and like threw it at your face, you would pass out on the ground.
So I have to be in bed, laying down in the final resting position, and then I just like, here we go, because I'm just out as soon as it touches my face.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up every day with this hot dog just right there, like still on my face and stuff. If I eat a raw hot dog, does that kind of slap myself with the face?
No, because I'm going off the text. It does say hit in the face.
You know, it's kind of a big risk in the early part of my life to go with the hot dog question because there was a lot of hot dog related shenanigans in my 20s, you know? That could have been risky.
I
But I have
call it.
avoided hot dog, you know, assault for the last 15 years. Like, so I think I'm all right.
I
Awkward.
think I'm gonna go with the hot dog because it's like that's my secret cap. I'm always tired.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm ready.
Do you
take
get
it
like
off.
a
If I could just be
straight
like-
8 hours uninterrupted? Like, what's the sitch?
Exactly. Just be like, oh, I finally get to sleep.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty
Okay,
good
then.
in
hack.
that same boat. I always have trouble falling asleep, and if I could just, especially at tournaments and stuff, like when we're at Adepticon,
New room, yeah, like
if I could
anxiety.
just skip that whole thing and be like, "Can you hit me in the face with a hot dog?"
Down for the count. Oh, we got to find a new place to get groceries too.
Bro, I'm gonna travel.
We could
with
do like a
hot dog.
mutual hot dogging where we
Yeah.
just like we
Same
throw it
time.
across the room and
Yep.
yeah, dude.
Same time, bro.
Oh,
I'll bring it on the plane with me, dude. I'll slap myself with the hot dog on the plane, man.
How are you gonna get a raw hot dog past TSA?
You can bring food on the plane.
You
I
can
bring
bring
food all the
food.
time, man.
what are they gonna say?
I bring sandwiches and shit. I'm gonna
I
bring
can't bring a Gatorade, but you can bring raw hot dogs.
Yeah,
through
Gatorades are
TSA?
fucking bombs, dude. You
You're
didn't know
Yeah,
that?
Gatorades are bombs. Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
That's
You're
preposterous.
gonna have to go to the Vienna beef stand and be like, "Yo, bro, I need a raw hot dog."
I need a wriggling.
I need you to get me one out from the drawer.
Yeah, don't ask me any questions. Just I'm gonna give you this money and you give me a raw hot dog.
And then I'm gonna sit on the plane and just in the corner window, just kind of start slap myself in the face. Just finally fall asleep on the plane because I can't fall asleep on planes.
You gotta get you like a hot dog caddy necklace.
Oh, dude,
Like-
I'm gonna- you
like
know,
what,
like-
what you put on your sunglasses. You gotta have it like a hot dog on the street, so you hit it, pass out.
And
just
so I
like
don't
pass
just keep having to buy new hot dogs. Yeah.
out. Yeah, dude.
Or you know, remember like those like really cool metal containers people used to have their cigarettes in?
Oh, okay, that'd be going like a cigar
Yeah.
tube.
Oh, a cigar tube, even classy.
That's classy. Yeah,
That's classy. Yeah. As much as I'm down for the Macho Man thing,
I swear to God, though, if I saw somebody take a hot dog out of a cigar tube, I'm calling the cops. I'm just-
Psychopath behavior.
I'm just
Yeah.
like that guy is a psycho.
There's something wrong with that.
There's something wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
that dude's up to no good. That guy's absolutely doing some shit.
It
But, like-
reminds me.
But the Macho Man girl one is weird because it's like every girl after the second date. So like
Yeah, that's
so you'd have to live a life of just casual one daters.
mhm.
But then-
or get really into Randy Macho Man Savage.
Yeah, I mean I'm really into Macho Man, but like not that into him.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. I would like to. I mean, I'm the only one gonna hear it. Is the problem with it? If other people could hear it, that'd be fucking tight. Because like you'd get a whole library of new one-liners. Because the library. Think about how sad this is. Why the library of one-liners from Macho Man's Randy Savage. It's set in stone. It's never. There's never no more material. But like, if it was the embodiment of his spirit channeled through this person in everyday situations saying new things, man, I might have to do that one just for the fucking just to keep his name alive. Do you know what I mean? Fuck it, I'm doing the Macho Man girl one. Talk
That
myself into it.
seems.
Sorry, Rob. What would you do?
It definitely seems funner. The only thing I can think about with this whole like getting slapped in the face with a hot dog, a raw hot dog, is that y'all seen that meme where the one lady standing there and she gets hit in the face with a fish, but it always starts out like where they load like a howitzer with like a
Yes,
shell.
It's top
Yeah.
tier.
Yeah.
That's all I can think about is them like taking like a big old like hot dog and just like, doomp, and then
I like the idea that we would all commit to hot dogging each other, though. Like, friends don't
Well, I
let
mean-
friends hot dog themselves.
I mean, if you got a dog, they'd love that. Just like it's not a problem anymore. You hit yourself, the hot dog
and it's
falls on
a
the
treat.
ground,
Yeah,
dog eats it, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Turnabout's
Hot
fair
dog bill
play.
would be insane though.
Okay, so here's the downside of that. You can't get a hot dog. Do you not sleep?
It's the only way you
See,
can
like
sleep.
I don't know. Is this say the only way you can fall asleep?
Yeah, you're fucked without a
Oh.
hot dog.
Yeah, so if you cannot get, maybe I'm thinking that's the dark side of that one now. Is like if you cannot get a hot dog, you're effed.
Yeah, think about COVID when the grocery stores were all collapsing for like that first like 6 months.
Ooh, yeah.
Bro, you would have fucked.
That's I mean, all the more reason for a reusable hot dog solution.
Yeah, you're right. The hot
Gotta
dog
get
can.
you like the yeah.
You know, like everyone's got one of those Stanley cups. You know what I'm saying? Hot dog Stanleys. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have a Stanley cup and it's just like 80 hot dogs jammed in there.
I'd like a flesh colored stand, like a Vienna sausage color.
Obviously, it'd be horrible.
Dude, they always have the worst colors for the Stanley Cups. The worst.
Good one, Mr. Eric A. And you're the
Yes.
winner of our dice giveaway.
Yeah, I guess-
Would you change your answer knowing that you'd be fucked in a hot dog crisis, Haspel?
I probably would.
Yeah, you might
Yeah.
go with the Macho Man thing.
I might go with the Macho Man thing.
You can't risk it.
Can't risk it.
Because you already know, like, in the last 5 years, you were already suffered really bad. Like,
Yeah,
from hot dog
really
crisis.
badly.
Yeah.
I've been like, I haven't slept in 5 years.
Yeah.
Just got to take some meat to the face.
I just openly hallucinate now.
Yeah, just think
I don't
about
know
like
what's
just think
real.
about like how like even if like wherever you lived, it was like let's say the whole like grocery store fiasco like restocking issue only lasted like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? That's 3 weeks of
Right.
sleep, dog.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
rough.
That ruins your life, dude. Yeah. All right, good one. Love that. Keep them coming. And should we issue another challenge? Do we have?
Oh yeah.
Do we want to go broke?
Oh, no, okay, so that one. So the prize has been won for the month of March.
Oh, I see.
Okay, but we're still taking submissions daily, and we'll announce a new prize next month. Now let's kick it up. Is that cool? Is that cool?
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe we could pivot it to be like some cool, like we could get some sponsors on board, like ask Jason or somebody, be like, hey, you want to feature our
Sponsor the
Uh,
Would You Rather. This
for
Would
the
You
month
Rather.
of
Yeah,
like April or something,
Yeah.
and then just send them the address.
that's how we're gonna do it moving forward. I love it. So
Did I just throw a Monument Hobbies under the bus?
you absolutely did, and they are good, and they are men of their word, even if they have been dragged into something.
They don't even know.
Yep.
Don't
Jason
worry.
will be all over this hot dog nonsense. So
Oh yeah, we'll have to tell him what the winning one was for the
Yeah.
the
so
inaugural.
he can know
the
what
inaugural.
he know what his name is going to be attached to.
Yeah, just so you know what you're getting into.
And the winner of this month's Monument Hobbies sponsor Would You Rather is the following question. Would you rather, you know what I mean? Endorsed by. Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Oh man, what
All
if they like made a video about it? Wouldn't that be great?
I would hope they do. Let's do the news. Let's stay on schedule. We've got a lot to
Okay.
cover tonight,
do
including
got a lot to cover.
news.
Fortunately, I don't have as much news, but let's talk about some stuff. So first off, I want to get it out of the way because it is news and it is a different event than what we're going to be talking about probably for the rest of the show. But Frontline Gaming just announced, if you missed it, that the LVO 12 will be happening in October, first week of October. It will be at a bigger venue in Old Strip, I think it is.
Yep.
And it looks like accommodations are going to be at the old Golden Nugget. That's
Yeah, I actually had an off the books conversation with Reese and
yeah.
Jake, and that was Jake's big pitch, and Reese was like, "Man, changing the dates, changing the venue." He was nervous, but like Jake was like cold, like he was cold as ice, dude. He was like, "No, this is the way," because like he's like arguably the accommodations are better in every way at the Nugget for
I love the Nugget
for sleeping, and we don't need to be in a hotel anymore where you have to walk 400 fucking yards to go play 40k. Like,
Yep.
like let's just
And
go to the place, play the games. So
and plus Fremont Street is just sweet.
Changing the date's huge though. That's a huge that I know that made them real nervous. Like So
Well, yeah, and I mean, understandably so. I mean, it's only you only call a vote if you know the answer, right? So I feel like they're pretty confident that it's not going to be an issue. I don't see it being an issue. Like it seems like it falls in. It's in a good
it
time.
might be an issue this year
Well, because
because
there was just
it is now a historic event that takes place in
right.
January, right?
The,
So this year might not be a growth year for them. So
well, that's understandable too. From a business standpoint, I see the detractions from it, but I think the overall is a plus.
Mm.
Um,
you can't get scared about that shit, dude. Like it's as Demeki says, scared money don't make money. He said that
scared money.
to me in Vegas while I observed him. He got some payout on something. He went to the ATM machine, pulled out $1,000,
Mm-hmm.
walked up to the craps table, and I was like, "What are we doing?" He's like, "Scared money don't make money, Kenny." And he takes it and he puts it on the table. The pit boss has to go verify it. They move his stack of cash over. Dude rolls the dice. He loses the G. We walk away. It all took place in like 8 seconds, dude. My heart was pumping, dog. It was like thump, 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 thump. I was like, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna have a heart attack, dude. Oh, he just cool as a cucumber, just kept walking. We just kept walking, dude, back to our hotel room. He didn't like it didn't even matter. He's like, scared money don't make money, Kenny. I was like, oh my fucking god.
True.
That's why I'm poor. Bro, it was exhilarating to watch. Anyway, so that's the big. It's a big change. It's a big announcement.
It is, and I think it's a good thing. But yeah. So look out for that. Tickets. I guess the registration announcements and things are going to go up in April, and with ticket sales starting in May. So not too far off of what they normally do. Normally they have sales start in June. So um, I don't. I think financially, if you normally bought your tickets in June, May isn't that big of a deal. It's a month before. So I see the I can see the benefits to both sides and the criticism, but overall, I think it's going to be a good thing. There was a new product worth talking about. The Fallout Factions rulebook went up from pre-order from Modifius. So if you are playing the skirmish game and want the rulebook, now if you buy the physical rulebook, it also comes with a PDF download, which is neat that you have access to as soon as you pre-order it. Of course, you still got to wait for the hardcover book to come in. And if you order the hardcover rulebook, you also get a promo King of the Park model as well, which is pretty cool. So keep an eye out for that. That's up right now. Might want to scoop that up if you're into playing skirmish games. And then the 800-pound Imperial Knight in the room is. Do you? Or here, we'll just put it like this: how do you feel? I don't want to say I'm anti-change or like trying to be let's change my game again. I'm pro change, I'm pro updates for 40k for sure. I just feel and I want to know how you guys feel about this data slate, this balance data slate, the whole demons thing, which there's tons of rumors going around about the demons staying not getting a codex now. How do you guys feel about it? Because I personally feel.
We'll break it down first. Like we're talking about Adepticon. That's the elephant.
So we're talking about Adepticon. They had it on their books that there would be no major changes allowed after the 15th.
I think it was the 8th. I think actually I was fact checked on that. I think they had their first date was like there's like an 8th and a 15th cutoff.
There is an 8th, but then it said major changes, I believe. I forget exactly how it's worded.
So
I don't know if the
it's
email
possible that Adepticon hasn't broken even their own rules by saying that we have to play this massive. We get seasonal changes to the game that are necessary.
Right.
Is what Rob is saying. These are necessary changes. We have operated under certain rules over the years where like big changes don't come through. We playing post pre. What are we doing? And so we've got 2 longtime players in the chat. I mean, in the show right now, we got Haspel and Wyatt. So I think these guys are pretty geared to answer this, and they're like how it affects them in 2 different ways. How do you like that, Haspel? How like?
Well, no, hold on. Let me set it up a little bit better, real quick.
Yeah.
So GW dropped an unscheduled Balance Dataslate update in December. Unheard of. They never did it in December. It was always January.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
In order, they even said it would be in January, and then all of a sudden they dropped a little hint that it would be before the end of the year, and then we're like, wait, what? So there would be ample time to LVO. So it's almost like they did it on purpose to, make way for LVO and to give players, time to accommodate, change their lists and things. Fast forward to March. So they're like, oh, okay. They basically did this without saying it to the public that they did it for LVO. And then we get to where we are now. We're basically 2 weeks out from Adepticon, and they drop this, which to me seems, I don't know, how do I PC this? Shitty. It seems shitty.
It seems somewhat adversarial.
It does seem
compared
adversarial.
to the, like, obviously it's baseless claim. I can't fucking back any of that up. But just on the
I have
information,
no proof.
Just on the information you gave me, it feels like they were hooking one person up and not hooking.
I mean, if you just look at the dates on the calendar, like an unannounced one a month ahead of when it dropped for every other year, or 2 weeks before this event over here.
Okay, it sounds adversarial at worst and preferential at best. Like, how about that?
I'll agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't realize that. Thank you for that information. Holy shit.
So, how do you guys feel about it?
Haspel, go first as a longtime player of the Colorado scene.
I would rather they put it out and that Adepticon goes with what's out. What are the rules on the ground? And I know it can be bad because people can be prepping and have their whole army built already and their strategy built around a certain thing. But in my opinion, your army, if it's built around one rule exploit, then your strategy wasn't that great anyway. But I've had a bad experience where this was years ago. I think it was 6th edition, where like the Grey Knight Codex came out before a tournament, like a week before the tournament. And the tournament said, hey, you need to use the modern stuff. And then when I showed up using the modern, busted Grey Knights because it was the 6th edition Codex that was
so it went the other way.
The Apology Tour Codex. There were other Grey Knight players there using the 5th edition one. And the tourney organizers let them play the 5th edition rules. So it left a real bad taste in my mouth because I was like, wait a minute, are we using the new rules like you guys said and I'm complying with, or are we using the old rules? And they were just like, oh, well, these guys weren't ready for it. And I'm like, it's not my fault. They're not prepared.
No, Haas brings up a good point, right? This could lead to independent versions of the game taking place that are different than they should be, more than normal,
right?
Because of this confusion.
Yeah.
Right. Why you were talking a little bit earlier when we were chatting to pregame, and you play actively right now. How do you feel about this?
I mean, I'm basically in the same opinion of Haspel, where like as long as there's enough time before the submission to like use these new rules, like even if it's a couple of days, I want the new stuff. Especially with the way that the year has been. Well, let's just say 10th edition as a whole. The way 10th edition as a whole has been, it's completely centered around the balanced data slates. So we have like a short burst of time where the balanced data slates shake some stuff up and stuff is new and exciting again. Because we don't get the list scheming that we used to get. We don't get I'm going to try new different things. Like it's been so streamlined and watered down in 10th edition that there's like, this works, all this other crap straight up doesn't work. Don't even try it. So we don't get to do cool list building player expression much anymore. And we just kind of rely on the data sheets or the data slates to get any taste of that. And I'm like really tired of going to big tournaments and having a balanced data slate happen, but they're like, oh, well, we don't really want to ruffle any feathers. and people will whine too much if they have to make a list change like 2 weeks before the tournament or whatever. And then we're just like, well, all I want to do is play the new stuff and like,
or
and
at
then
the
the
very
ins-
least, the game as it is.
yeah, and like get away from stuff that has been fixed. That we're like, this needed to get fixed, but we are shackled with Games Workshop's arbitrary, like, we're only going to do this 4 times a year, regardless of how busted something might be. And so I'm like, now I got to put up with this shit for another event, right? And it's really frustrating. I'm like, dude, even if it's like a week before the event, but list submissions have already happened, just let people submit new lists.
Mhm.
Like and I mean, I'm not going to have a bad time. Like, I'm going to California teams this weekend, and we have to use the old stuff. It's like, I get it. It's a team thing. There's like more strategy going into it, all that kind of stuff. But would I rather just resubmit my list with the new points and the new balanced data slate and play that this weekend? 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Rob,
get.
Rob, I feel like you might be the counter to this, like, emotion. I want to hear what you had to say for sure. Like, 'cause
No,
you,
I agree with both of them.
well, like
From
you,
a from
well, you take a lot of time to prepare for your games, right? Like, like if you were to set up for a tournament today, which I know you don't play tournaments anymore, but if you were like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, and this happened to you, like with how you view the game and how like prepared you want to be and how and all that, how would this affect you? Like this, if you were going to kind of play and this just happened, how would that affect you? Because I know your opinion is exactly like the rest of the podcast. I want to see if I can get a version of Rob where this would irritate him.
I guess it would irritate me more if I had to like paint
There it is. Okay.
if I had to if I didn't have enough time to make the pivot I wanted to pivot. And um but I feel like that, I mean, just running it down in my mind real quick, like what all changed. I'm not thinking. I mean, so some of the custody stuff, some of the HQs went up in points. So I feel like there are minor shifts, if anything. I don't feel like there was anything like super duper huge for this particular one. But I feel like there'd be a gradient of upsetness, like how crazy the changes were and how much effort would have to be put in to playtest and get the models together in 2 weeks. But
I
I
mean, I
think
was looking at the Munitorum field manual, and like,
Mhm.
other than I think it's just Slanesh Demons and Emperor's Children, which technically isn't really out yet.
Yeah, I don't even think you
You
can
maybe
play
had
them.
like 2 to 3 units in a codex that had points adjustments. They're small. So even something brand new like Codex Eldar was like 3 units went up by like 5-10 points
Now,
each.
obviously, there's some exceptions to it, like Slanesh Demons. I heard got
Yeah,
Well,
and I
like
mean, like,
all the demons.
if you're playing the Legion of Excess and you've been doing that for the past 3 months, and it has like a 68% win rate, and it's just
eh,
dick stomping all over the place,
That's
you
gimmicky.
should not be surprised by
Yeah,
this.
you should not be shook by that. But
You should have expected this to happen.
I think more of my issue with all of this is just the fact that when you put it on paper, you're like, okay, there was this big event and this big event. And this big event, they rolled out an update 2 weeks before, and this big event, they did it unheard of, never before, this far away, almost like they went out of their way to do it. It's just the optics for me.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess I'm not surprised by Games Workshop, considering the
Yeah.
rumors that are going
Never
around.
never
Mm,
ascribe to malice what can be ascribed to incompetence.
true, true.
Or
Facts.
they
I
just
love Arkham's
don't
Razor.
care. Like,
Or
I don't know.
what is
I'm
it?
not surprised
Hanlon's.
by
which
anything
is
they do.
a customer service based industry is incompetence. Like,
I mean, how does a tournament have anything to do with customer service?
no, what I mean is like, well, there's other things.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm.
The
That's what my point is. Is
the
like, they don't
company
care
that
about
everyone
independent tournaments.
the company that everyone S's the D of, Games Workshop in this scenario,
Mhm.
definitely kind of pressures people now in certain circumstances at certain levels of play to kind of abide by what they're doing. Like that, so there is definitely a pressure now that GW has returned to the scene that wasn't there before to kind of do what they say. So that's why I said, like, at worst this is adversarial and at best it's preferential. Like there's definitely like
Mhm.
something going on here, but or it could just be sheer incompetence. It could just be global.
I mean, I think
the global event coordination incompetence.
I think the explanation is a lot simpler. Right. And to answer some of the questions, like if they don't care, why'd they do it? It's like they didn't really do anything. There was no like, all right, guys, internal memo. We're gonna push out this data slate to fuck over Adepticon. Like that didn't happen.
Yeah, that did.
They had
mean,
a they had a
well,
date on a calendar that was like, this is when we're pushing the data slate, and they're gathering data and they're trying different things and they're editing and they're crossing ideas. They're not looking at a calendar of independent events unless it's their events or it's specific things like people who work with them, like FLG. So it's like there was no, I mean, maybe there was, right? Maybe there's like an evil mustache twirling villain in the rules department that's like, haha, fuck Adepticon. I hate the
oh,
Midwest.
I
Like,
don't know about
I
that.
can't say for 100%, but the most likely answer is probably they were like, uh, March 12th is when we're pushing the data slate. That's when it's happening. And that's what they work towards in their
Yep.
internal goals.
Yep. My guess is that there's something else that is driving something else in the future that is driving the March 12th date that we don't know about. And it's not Adepticon.
Fair. That actually makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Could be very true.
Well said, guys.
But anyways, so that was just my that was my news rant there.
All right, let's kick it over to a commercial break and let's actually talk about some of these big takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back. So I didn't do any Q&A today because I didn't think I'm going to have time to cover some of these topics. So Q&As for next week. Sorry, guys. So the title of the show, the March 2025 Warhammer 40k Balance Dataslate Summary. Rob wrote some hilarious notes in here, which I love. But
What?
I wrote all the footnotes.
oh, you wrote
Yeah,
these?
that was
All the
why.
professional looking stuff, that was Rob. Me being like, fuck all this, doesn't matter, that was me.
Yes, I love it. So, Wyatt, you wrote me some hilarious notes. Talking about what's in. So right at the gate, you mentioned Brighead nerf hard, engineers nerfed. Is this a?
This is the bridgeheads.
Yeah, dude. So the bridgehead strike detachment is
The Scions.
was the most popular Astra Militarum. It was out there dick stomping. They get +1 for coming out of transport, +1 to wound for coming out of transports. There was also things that get like full rerolls to wound, et cetera, et cetera. So it was like really oppressive. And so part of the Balance Dataslate is they change that stuff. I'll go to the specific section and read it verbatim so that I don't get it wrong. So it has to do with the Scions. Like they took away +1 to wound. You don't get +1 to wound for coming out of transports. You get +1 to hit. And then the Scions thing is add 1 to the hit roll. Oh yeah, so that's what it was. And then they changed the combat engineers.
So they were hitting +1 and +1 to wound before.
They were getting, so the thing was like when you come from reserves or a transport, you get +1 to wound. And then units like Scions got like full reroll to wounds by other rules interactions.
And as we all know, the best roll in 40k is +1 to wound.
Yeah. And then they changed combat engineers, and so they have their remote mine, like the demo drone, and they changed it in a handful of ways. So it was 12 inches, now it's 9 inches. So you can't do it out of reserves anymore. And you have to have the target visible to you. Before it was just within 12. And they changed how much damage it does. So before it was D6 if you were anything but a vehicle, and if you were a vehicle or a fortification, it was D3 +3. So now it's D3, and then if you're a vehicle or fortification, it's 2D3. But it still has to go off on a 3+. So they just made it like kind of a fun thing you can do, but not all that great. Like I've been playing them for a couple of weeks and I have found the engineers to be like really unreliable. So I don't really know how much that was going to be sweeping the meta anyways, other than the fact they were just really cheap. So you could grenade for free, do your demo drone. They were like 70 points, kind of do what they do.
Did anybody else so normally we all like to look and see how this affects us. I'm just learning about this because of the show notes, so I did not do that. But
I looked at the
so
Custodes.
Rob looked at stones. Did you also look at your knights?
I don't think there was any night changes, but let me go double check.
Haspel, you look at your Grey Knights?
I did passingly, and it was like the purgation squads. If it only really applied to the Warpbane task force, which was the new hotness that they dropped for the Grey Knights in December.
The Christmas shit.
They gave us a new that new
Oh, I lied.
Christmas thing, whatever it was called. But yeah, the purgation squads are affected because they now have to see their targets in order to get the rerolls when they're in like holy ground.
Because they used to do that. They shoot through walls. Bullshit.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
okay.
And it's like they can still shoot through the thing, they just don't get the rerolls.
Fair. Rob, what did you see in Knights just now? Point changes?
Yeah, the big boys came down 30 points, which is significant.
Maybe you'll be able to shove your sister battle allies into there.
I don't think the Sisters of Battle. Oh, we didn't talk about. Did we talk about this on? We didn't talk about that. I apologize to Wyatt because I played a game of Knights over the weekend, and I realized that everything and their mom has +1 to, because of cover. So like negating AP and all custodians have is like basically 1 and 2 AP
all
stuff.
all the Knights, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, and the Knights. Sorry, and and I'm playing. I'm like,
I really wish I could ignore cover right now. Like White
I was
said.
like, maybe there is something to this because I haven't played a whole lot on the Pariah Nexus terrain, and yeah, I was just like, well, they're all right. Okay, cool. I was wrong.
that's fair. So,
but yeah, having the sisters in with the bigger Knights might be cool.
You might be able to actually make some tweaks. So, and I think it's exciting when I see a potential buff. Right now, obviously, people aren't celebrating that, or like people are upset about X, right? And so we talked about this just a moment ago. Wyatt put it as a second show note. Slaanesh Legion in the dumpster. Quotation or parentheses. Yeah.
Yeah, I put yay. So like I said earlier, the Legion of Excess has just been stomping like hard. It had like a plus 60% win rate.
And the meta team has said like when it goes to like over 40, they look at it.
Well, no, so the Goldilocks zone is 45 to 55. That's what they want every faction to kind of float in, and then they'll adjust accordingly. So like perfect would be 50. Like if everything was 50, it would be perfect balance.
But we've only seen people crest the 60s a few times.
Yeah, when it's super impressive, gross. So and like there was a lot of feels bad rules in that detachment, like the like you can't shoot me stratagem. So it'd be like, okay, you target my Shalaxi Hellbane. I play the stratagem. You have to take a battle shock test. If you pass the test, you can still shoot me, but at -1 to hit. If you fail the battle shock test, you just can't even target him. And the passing of the wounds and things like that. So a lot of points adjustments. Those rules were changed. There was some units moved to legends, like the if I remember right, it's like the chariot was moved, and that was like a big deal.
Oh wow.
So it's been not only was it
Karnak
adjusted down in the rules section, but it was also adjusted down by getting points hikes. And then if I remember right,
and the deletion of certain data sheets.
Yeah, I think they unified the data sheets in the Demons Index to what they are in the Emperor's Children Codex, because there was like a change to things like Shalaxi Hellbane, and so it's one data sheet now, and it's the newest one.
Yeah, so like that's a nerf, right? Like that's a unequivocal nerf, but that is also the entire point of the Meta Watch team, which I love those guys. I love what looking at that stuff. That 68% is too high.
Yeah.
We need adjustment. So I do empathize with somebody who's put their heart and soul into their Slaanesh army, meaning you built all the sick models, you converted them, you painted them like a fucking baller. If you're that guy, I feel bad for you, bro, you email me, bro. Let's have a beer. But if you just put together some trash ass looking models real fucking fast, because you know that's just
Mhm.
dumpstering people and you're whining to me on the internet about it, I literally don't fucking care.
Yeah, it's like, is it bad? No. They still have some very solid rules. Like, if you look at their rule set, it's useful, good, right? It's just, it's been adjusted back. So, like, they changed the detachment rule because it was just too strong. Like, it was just straight up too strong. Like, the whole thing was seductive gambit. You do a gambit and then you lose the fights first rule off your data sheet, but then you got like full hit and wound rerolls. So it's like, why would
It's pretty
you?
strong.
And because of the way the army plays, like, you're always wanting to be the aggressor and charging anyways. And so, like, you're fighting before, other than like niche rules, interactions, and stuff like that. And so they just changed it to where if you do it, you get reroll hits and wounds of 1. And then if you're within the shadow of chaos, which is like part of the whole demons thing of taking objectives and making them shadows, you get the full hit reroll back, but still only a wound reroll of 1. So it's like you still get a really solid buff, which is reroll all hits, which is really good no matter how you shake it. And you still get wound rerolls, which some factions in their entirety don't even have access to. But it's not the pinnacle of full hit and wound rerolls.
Yeah, the wombo of all combos. So you put in here Eldar not nerfed much.
Eh,
Classic.
yeah, it was kind of a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, because
Ish.
I mean, like, I think it's still pretty early for the Eldar stuff. And if you look at how the Eldar stuff has been shaken out since January, they have a lot of really solid ways to play the Codex, but nothing that was like, oh my God, this is insane, this is OP, this is broken. Um, when you look at how the games were shaken out, when you look at what people are doing, it's like a lot of their stuff is like, yeah, this is, if played competently, like a solid 4-in-1 army most of the time, right? And then if you have somebody who's really, really good playing the Inari detachment, then maybe they can pull down like a super major or something. But that's a big if. Some stuff was pretty feels bad. It's like Azerman being able to like pop out of a transport.
Oh,
You can't overwatch them. They use their token and they fucking kill God with a billion rerolling shurikens, and he does like mortal wounds on 3+s. So like it was probably a little too strong, a little too spicy. But they can still basically do that. That part didn't get nerfed. It's just Azerman only has anti-infantry 5+ instead of 3+. So they toned it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
5+ is still respectable. That's
I mean,
like
they
a
went up
third
in
of the
points.
time.
They went up in points a little bit. I know that. So they didn't get nerfed much, but they did receive a nerf, right? So this is
Yeah, it was a classy, proper kind of like Fire Dragons and Dark Reapers. They were a little too strong for their point cost. They went up a little
Yeah.
bit.
yeah.
You can't even get fire dragons. Think about that for a second.
And again,
That-
see previous statement. Like this almost applies to every one of these. Like if you're one of those guys, if you're a keyboard warrior who hasn't even built an army, or you built the army and it's just sitting there, or you built the army and sitting there, you primed it, or you built the army sitting there, you primed it, and you got base colors on it, right? If you're in that camp, I don't care about no rules affect you because you actually haven't made an army. You haven't actually accomplished the project. If you accomplished the project, right now you're in two categories. Did you make the shittiest bare minimum crap possible because you just like dick stomping and you know who you are and everyone else does, or did you make something dope and really partake in this hobby because this hobby is the greatest hobby of all time because of the craftsmanship, the art, the socialization, the healthy competition, right? The scheming, everything. You have to do it all, right? So if you're not partaking in that and you're coming up with some garbage, I don't care. But if you did actually put together some dope Eldar, and I know some people in this chat who did, and you only got a couple games in with them, and it totally now their points went up, and now you have to take units. You just fucking lovingly paint it out. Like I feel bad for you. Again, email me. Check out my new website, nextlevelpaint.net. You can see contact form. I'll buy you bearded Adepticon. I promise. Those are the people I care about. Right. Moving on to the next section. Ultra Vanguard keyword. I bet my man Wyatt could talk about this.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it kind of a big change. That's really like the only big change for Space Marines. They changed Area of Interest to where he can only use his Grant Deep Strike ability to certain armor marks, and it's literally just so you can't do it on Centurions. That's like the only real takeaway is
Wait,
like,
Centurions who can't deep strike anymore?
yeah, and that was kind of like the cornerstone anvil unit for Ultramarine Vanguard was like you're teleporting a brick of Centurions around using his ability and then the stratagem to pick up a unit and then re-deep strike it somewhere else. Um, I mean, that was a very, very solid way to play the game. Like Ultramarines Vanguard was doing exceedingly well at like LVO and a bunch of other tournaments for a while. So I mean, like it kind of makes sense that they didn't want that to keep happening. Uh, there was a smaller change to what is it, Spearhead. Uh, they have a reactive move stratagem that would let any unit use its full move distance. And so they were like, well, some units were using that we don't actually want them to use that, right? Like
So let's
some
just come up with a
shenanigans.
number.
Well, so they changed it to infantry and mounted, right? They were like, well, we don't want uh, stuff to be moving like tanks or the Storm Raven or a Redemptor Dreadnought or like some other shenanigans that was going on. And it's like, so they're like infantry and mounted.
You just gave
can still-
you just
yeah.
gave Haspel PTSD.
Hmm.
You said Storm Raven.
Oh, there it is.
This is fucking. But you know what's funny? Why is that every edition I played this game since 8th, right? Remember 8th was the first new edition of 40k that we had since 3rd edition. Every edition I've played since 8th, there's been a moment where it's time to dust the Centurions off again. You know what I mean? Like, because they secretly slap again. And this is one of those times, and now they just said, okay, they slap too hard. Centurions slap, dude. And every time we have a fucking cool way to make them slap hard, they take it from us. I did that with Blood Angels last 9th edition. I'm like, man, just legends them, dude. Fuck it. Stop tempting me. Stop tempting me with fucking Centurion hotness, and just put them in the legend bucket.
They were such cool models when they first came out.
But you know, I did a fucking 6-man squad for my Blood Angels, dude. I fucking love those bitches. Like I love those motherfuckers, dude. But yeah, no, I feel that. Like I feel that. You know, side note, Hasbro. So I mentioned it earlier. I have a new website, which is the same URL. I've been on Blogger since 2010. When we met, you and me met in 2004. Rob owns my URL. He's like, hey, you should get a URL. Let me just buy it
Yeah.
for you.
You should probably buy me a beer at Adepticon.
I should buy you approximately $375 worth of beer. We mapped that out.
This is what happens when you don't pay your bills for 10 years.
Yeah. And so the situation is that over the last couple of weeks, I actually got a real website. Shout out to my man Spect. That's my childhood friend that I opened a game store with in Miami. You might recall. I've probably told you that story before, but he's a big dig bandit programmer in Silicon Valley, and he's just like, hey man, I got some time. You want to do this thing?
Mm-hmm.
We did it, and one of the things that recently occurred was I had to like fill out my gallery page, and so I just went through my big list of like old commissions from like you and me, Matt. Remember back in the day? And I have a category on that in the gallery is called like old commissions, and it really shows the era in which like I was like functioning as a commission painter, 5th edition. Because it's just like over and over again. It's like every army has a couple of rhinos, Storm Raven, couple of rhinos, Storm Raven, couple, you know, like every one of them. My lady, who only knows the broadcast entertainer version of me, but who still paints. She's like, man, you paint so much, Kenny. You paint so much. You paint all the time. I was like, I barely paint. She's like, what do you mean? I see you painting all the time. I was like, look at this gallery. She's like swiping through it. She's like, oh my God, it just keeps going. And I was like, baby, it's like a 30th. I didn't put them all in there. It'd be preposterous. That's the first 6 years. She's like, these are whole ass armies. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I used to fall asleep in the chair every day at like 3 in the morning, man. Painting these bitches. They might like is, but all that neurosynapses trigger occurred when Wyatt said the word Storm Raven. Because I to this day guarantee I have the world record of a single person painting the most amount of Storm Ravens any human ever has.
Probably.
Because when those bitches dropped, bro, everyone needed one. I think I painted like 60 Storm Ravens.
That was a feel bad moment for me too. I was not fond, but I don't like.
But
that
you
model,
made
so.
the first Storm Raven.
I did. I cobbled one together. Yeah,
He
but
made like in the era when like shit like we were just on Blogger and there was no podcast and shit. And they just showed us the back when GW used to show you rules but not give you models.
right.
They gave us the rule, and I was like, Haspel, my man, he fucking made me one, dude. Out
I
of a
kit bashed
he
a,
kid
a
bashed me
really
one,
good one.
and I had the first Storm Raven
Those
because
were
of
the
But I
that.
had to
days.
feel bads because it was like said in the Storm Raven lore that it was a Grey Knight vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
then
he
the
was
Blood
and he was he
the
was like
Blood Angels
tears
got it
crying
first.
as he was making it for me to paint Blood Angels to beat his ass with next weekend.
Blood Angels got it first, and I was like, man, this is BS.
Bro,
You couldn't have one nice thing.
okay. That's just
No,
some
they
lore.
gave us the baby carrier, so that's ours.
One of my favorites. But we have Mike Casper back on the show, so guys, I'm just giving you guys some deep lore. Let's kick it back to Wyatt, our uh, expert on kicking ass. This is an important one because this might be a buff. You said orcs, and I quote,
Ooh,
are
orcs.
gonna bully people hard. That's your
Yeah.
show note.
Yeah, dude. So they were another faction that didn't really catch any hard nerfs with this balanced data slate. So Tactical Brigade still in a really great place. And they just got a new detachment. Like what it was like orcs, Tau, who else, Rob, got new detachments?
Custodies.
Custodies. Just like GW pulled some new detachments out of their ass and was like, here you go.
And they're all
So
good.
yeah, so the new detachment is
More DACA.
yeah, it's called More DACA, and their rule is DACA DACA DACA. And so it's like
Sick.
infantry and walker units just get sustain 2 on all their guns in the shooting phase.
What the fuck?
And then while the WA is active, orcs, infantry, and walkers also get the assault ability for all their guns. So it's just like, oh yeah, so all these guns that are pissing bullets to begin with, they're all sustain 2 now.
just that's it. We don't have to talk about anybody else. Anything else. This is it. It's good enough.
Right. And so the biggest takeaway before we get into some of the details is that like this is a good overall rule for the profiles that already exist in the orc army: ludas, flash skits, shock attack guns, just across the board, right? Then we look at the enhancements and the stratagems, and every single one of them is like, yeah, that's pretty useful. To yeah, that's pretty good. So 4 enhancements. One of them is for a single model, and it gives their ranged weapons devastating wounds, but also hazardous.
Classic.
So some of the weapons that characters can take are like, yeah, it's okay. But all of a sudden they're sustained to possibly assault, and they have dev wounds now. So it's like, okay. There's a new one for a character where all of the ranged weapons in their unit now have rapid fire 1. So again,
Rapid fire.
Ludas are going to get rapid fire 1, they're going to get sustain 2, they're going to get assault,
maybe +1 to hit.
maybe +1 to hit. The next one is a character, their unit gets +1 to hit for ranged. And then the last one is the Bears unit is eligible to shoot and fall back. And then the stratagems, if you target a unit, they reroll a wound roll of 1. If that enemy unit is on an objective marker, you get full wound rerolls. Fantastic rule. There's one where they get ignores cover if the target is within 18 of an orc character. There's one where you just get to put Wa on any one unit for a turn. So you get like the all over turn Wa, and then kind of like the old Space Marine stratagem where you could just give anybody a doctrine for a turn. It's the same thing with Wa. So it's like you get 5 turns of Wa, but with 1 unit. Very, very useful. They get one where if you're within 18, you increase the AP by 1. There's one where until the next command phase, you improve the unit's move, leadership, and OC by 1. And they get +1 to hit. And then the last one is a shoot back at you if they lose a model.
Shoot death.
No, it's when they lose 1 or more models as the result of a shooting attack, the unit can shoot back at you.
Holy fuck.
But it's not the the
Mhm.
model that dies doesn't get to shoot on death. It's just the unit shoots back at you.
Seems good. Like immediately.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I mean, like, basic. So, I can't. Rob, do you remember the distinction between the two? There's like there's like breakas and bustas. Who are the guys that shoot?
Oh, I
Bustas?
forget the new
There's like
kill team
I
guys.
think it's tank bustas are the shooters.
I
So
believe
like,
tank busters are too, but I'm gonna go check.
so their shooting was already like MasterCard in the tactical brigade. Now all of their weapons will have sustain 2. They'll have assault. Like I said, Luda's fantastic. You can't attach any units to flash kits anymore, but flash kits, just raw on the rules will be very solid because like they have built-in stuff like getting a bonus to their attack, so they can go to, I think it's either they either go to 4 or 5. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like all their snaz guns will be like sustained to assault. Like you can use the stratagems so they can get like full wound rerolls against stuff on objectives. So yeah, crazy solid set of rules for orc shooting.
so big takeaway is if you're playing orcs, you know what I'm saying, going to the Decepticon.
Right,
You're
and
doing well.
Basically everything infantry wise that this directly buffs and makes juiced up can all go in transports. They can all go in trucks. And so it creates the game of like everything's in transports. They're all in trucks that are like behind stuff. So even if you draw a line on them, they'll have like cover. The sight lines will be limited. So like when those factors are there for stuff like even an orc truck, you have to devote like way more than you should have to like get rid of an orc truck. And that's just to have the guys pile out of it, right?
Yeah, a blade of armor.
The same thing as like what people have been doing with rhinos.
Yeah, like literally, we only talked about 5 detached or 5 factions. Okay, and
The tank busters are the shooty, by the way.
yeah, we talked about 5 detachments or 5 factions, and 4 of them received a nerf, but 1 received a massive buff. So there's like 20 more fucking factions. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. Again, see previous statements on the feelings of, you know, where you're at with playtesting and painting for Adepticon. But this all sounds incredibly exciting. Like, I don't play any of the listed factions, and I'm stoked. Like, this got me amped. So, you know, I think we did a good job here covering this stuff. Next week we want to cover a different topic. Rob has been putting a lot of good topic. So tune in for next week. Remember to continue to submit Would You Rathers. The monthly prize has been won. Shout out to Eric A for his raw hot dog submission. We're going to move into April with potential sponsorship behind these things. And we have one more podcast before the big show, before Adepticon. Is that right?
That sounds right. Yep.
Just look at the dates. Yeah, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all flying out. So yeah, we got the 20th or the 19th, and then the Adepticon wrap up right on the 2nd. So stay tuned. Keep us up to date. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up an email. 40klongwar@gmail.com. Mike Haspel, you got something for us?
It's not the years, honey. It's the mileage.
I feel like a lady said that, but I can't remember the movie.
Man, that does spark a
lady did
memory,
not-
but
A lady did not say that.
Oh no.
No.
Okay.
It's
Hmm.
Indiana Jones and Raiders.
There
of
it
the
is.
Lost Ark.
Classic.
He
Why?
was good in Cap, the new Cap movie.
Wait,
he was
who was?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford, yeah.
He played the Red Hulk, I guess, right? I haven't
Or-
seen
Yeah,
it.
he's
General
the
Ross.
yeah, General Ross.
John Ross.
Somebody asked me right at the end, did I play the new Indiana Jones game? No, I bought it, but it's sitting in my Steam stuff.
In the Steam library. And as a reminder, guys, we're looking good. People are getting their submissions in for the Long War doubles. Please check your email. Register. Rob, what do you have?
Also, you know, these updates are all going to be in effect. So just, update. We don't require a list submission, but you still need to have a valid army list for your opponents when you play the 3 opponents. So definitely still bring lists that are legal with the new changes.
Well said. Wyatt, take us out of here. Sorry.
Can I plug something real quick?
You can plug as many things as you want, brother.
Yeah, so I bought a set of terrain off of Etsy from a guy. Their shop is called Tabletop Terrain 3D.
Oh, Laramie.
Dude, it is some of the highest quality terrain I've ever seen. The walls on this stuff, I was expecting something that was almost vacuum form that I'd have to worry about. I could probably stand on these things. Like, they're real thick, lots of detail, and great value. So if you're
What'd you
looking
get?
for terrain, I actually am recreating a Dawn of War
Oh, yeah.
base
Mhm.
for my Blood Ravens. So, which I will make a diorama because most of them
Nice.
are legends. Most of the ones I had were legends.
You mean you're gonna have that big gaming table down in your basement just set up with a beautiful diorama?
Of Dawn of War, yeah.
We actually have a discount code for tabletop terrain on the Spiky Bits discount code page. So if anybody's
Oh,
listening,
nice.
just Google discount code Spiky Bits, and there's a whole bunch in there actually. I think it was like 30 or 40.
I was super impressed. I like
Yeah.
opened it up and I was like, "Are you kidding? Like this is like an
Mhm.
incredible value for what you get."
Blackjack,
Yep.
take us out of here.
Rob.
just no cat. There's some cats on the show. So that's it for this one. Thanks for hanging out and listening. Make sure to head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.